guys, foodies. We're going to try something a little bit different here today. I've changed my hat direction. I don't know what it's going to look like till after I do the show. Looking in the mirror isn't the same as seeing it on camera. But I keep noticing that my hat keeps blocking my above camera because I'm working in a home kitchen, not a studio kitchen. So let's see how this works. Today we're going to do something that I came together a few years ago with called a fried milk burger. Yeah, fried milk burger. That's what it is. Basically, all you need is hamburger, salt, pepper, ground mustard, 2 eggs, half of a sweet onion, and breadcrumbs and milk. I said all you need, didn't I? It's an awful lot of stuff, but it's really not that much stuff. It's because you're just the way it works. They had a special at the Pig on the 80-20 hamburger. We only need half of this, but the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to dump the one half out and put the other half back in the refrigerator for later in the week. So let's just open this up and pop it in here. There we go. Make sure you take out that. Get that out of the way. All right. Drop your 2 eggs right on top. Right in the bowl. You know, it doesn't have to be actually on the meat. Okay. Oops. It's the only problem with cracking eggs. No matter how hard I try, I get some eggs on my fingers. Now we need the milk. Need 1/2 cup of milk. Just pour it right in there. The salt and pepper. Forgot to pull out my nifty key new measuring devices. You're going to want 1 teaspoon of black pepper. There we go. 2 teaspoons of salt. By the way, this is approximately 3 pounds of hamburger. I don't know if I said that when I did it. And then 1/2 teaspoon of the ground pepper. Excuse me, the ground mustard. There we go. Now, I probably should have done the breadcrumbs first, because now they're going to stick to this, but you also want 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs. There are all different kinds of breadcrumbs out there. I'm just using plain breadcrumbs. I do know that there are, like I have Ganella French breadcrumbs, which is really good, but I use that for certain recipes. Regular Italian, I've seen Italian out there, but this is just a hamburger, so the plain breadcrumb is all you need. Then you need 1/2 of a sweet onion. So what you do is you want it diced up. I show you my cool nifty cane dicing machine. By the way, if you are utilizing my Facebook page on this, I am also an affiliate seller on Amazon, and I will have this on there. This is really an awesome machine. You just stick the onion on there. And presto changeo. Oh, that's why it didn't work. I had it upside down. That was kind of dumb. Diced onion, just that fast. Okay, be very careful. These blades are very sharp. Okay, everything's in here now. Now it's just a matter of mixing it all together. Needless to say, you're going to get messy fingers, but that's okay. The nice part about these is there's something else that I do every once in a while. I was going to do it today, but I ran out of time. Sometimes I like to put my bacon in here raw and cut and mix it right in with the meat. As weird as it sounds, it's kind of neat. I have actually also put cheese in the middle. The problem with putting the cheese in the middle is if it does leak out while you're cooking, it does burn on your pan, which is kind of annoying. Okay, as you can see, this is mixed up really good. It's got a nice thick consistency. Now, one of the things that I like to do is I like to pre-make my patties. I used to have a patty maker. Wasn't worth it. What a pain in the butt that was. So what I do now is I use my same cutting board that he cut the onion on because it doesn't hurt anything. Let me get this out of the way. Make the hamburgers the size that you like to make. I usually try to make a good quarter-pound burger. Actually, it's probably close to 1/3 of a pound. And I lay it out on my cutting board here. Now, if you have a big enough space, and I do have that big pan, I could have used my big pan. I probably should have. That would have made this a lot easier. What you want to do is you want all these made in advance so you're not washing your hands 3 million times. That one feels a little big. Okay. Now, there's 2 reasons why I call these milk burgers. Not only is there milk in the meat already, we're actually going to pour milk in the pan as we're cooking. It gives it a whole different flavor. It also does cut down a bit on the grease in the burger. So if you're like me and you don't like any kind of pink in my burger, you know me, I love my steaks medium rare. My burgers, they've got to be cooked. This is a really, really awesome way to make sure they're well done without being dry, because you're cooking them in milk, and the milk keeps everything nice. So what we're going to do here, since my sheet over there is already full, we'll just lay these off to the side here. Oh, cat wants to go outside. Can't go outside though. Bad weather. We're obviously now in November. We had one of the wettest September, Octobers we've had in I don't know how long. I mean, just terribly wet. As a result, very little of my outdoor stuff got done. So I've been trying to get caught up. And now we're having unseasonably cold weather. It's going to be a hard freeze tonight, down to 22 degrees. You really can't tell because it doesn't show up on the video, but I'm filming this on the day after Election Day. All right, we'll add a little bit to this one here. So November 7th today, and we're going to be 22 degrees tonight. That's pretty blasted cold for this time of year. It's not a record, of course, but it really does put a damper on getting stuff done. All right, that's how we do this. I hate wasting this. There's not enough to do anything with it. But I'll scrape what I can off, and then I'll give my fingers a wash. Okay. This time I actually need to be soaped. You can't just wash off hamburgers. Especially the 80-20. The 80-20 is a little bit fatty, but it works out really good for this particular meal. I mean, it's not as bad as the 75. The 75 is really, really cheap stuff. I normally use ground chuck, which is 85. I have used ground round. I have used ground sirloin. The problem is, as much as you're trying to take fat out of your diet, once you get that lean, you lose all your flavor. And what good is a hamburger without flavor, really? Okay, here's what we do. Now we bring the pan over here. Start the heat right away. Pour milk in the bottom of the pan. You want a good covering, basically 1/8 of an inch. It's not a whole lot. Keep the milk handy because you're going to add more since we're cooking so many burgers. You want the milk to start to bubble. Don't want it to go into a full boil because it'll just scorch and burn right to the pan really fast. Might as well get my turner here and a platter because once it starts, it's going to go fast. That is a smart cat. She managed to get that door partially open. It's one of the stray cats that we rescued. She likes to go outside. We try not to let her outside at this time of night, or, you know, it's dinner time at this time of year. It's already getting dark out, as you can see behind me. Right now it's 10 minutes to 5, and in fact, I gotta turn the lights on for my wife to come home. There we go. All right, if you look at the pan, well, I think the camera's good enough. The original bubbles from when I poured it have pretty much gone away. I can see a little bit of steam rising in the middle here, so we're getting really close. Now, since we just cleaned our fingers, we're going to use a spatula. Okay, here comes more steam. Should start seeing some quick little bubbles. Like I said, not a full boil, just make sure it's hot. Dry throat. Furnace has been running already. I want to say we're already at like 34 degrees, which is really cold. All right, here we go. Drop the first one in. In my pan, I can usually fit 4. Sometimes I get all 5 in. Wow. I'm gonna have to grab a quick drink here. And I put the lid on because it will splatter like crazy, especially with the milk in here. All right, I'm gonna grab a quick drink. You keep an eye on this, I'll be right back. All right, let's see how that works. Got my platter handy. Let's get this out of the way. I'll just do this. We're on medium high. You want burgers to cook fairly quickly, especially with the lid on. This will go fairly quick. I'm going to say 5 minutes per batch, which is fast. I don't know if you can see through the lid, but it's boiling pretty good. I'll tell you what, I'll come back in a few minutes because my throat's dry and I'm not going to talk as much as I normally do. Okay, we're back. Just about getting ready to turn these the first time. The way you can tell is the milk has pretty much come over the top of the hamburgers. That means it's been boiling pretty good. So at this point we can turn them over. Took about 3 minutes to get to this point. I did make these a little thick, so I'm going to revise my cooking time to more like 8 minutes. But it's still going to go pretty good. Now, the way this is cooking, the taste is going to be a whole different world. The seasoning, of course, will still be in there, but the milk and the cooked milk flavor, I can't explain it. You have to try this at least once. Not everybody's going to like it, but it is really an interesting dish. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cook macaroni and cheese, because everybody in the family loves macaroni and cheese here, and you can't go wrong with macaroni and cheese on a hamburger. I'm also going to cook these kind of like patty melts. I have seeded Italian bread. that I'm going to fry like a grilled cheese sandwich with the burger and the cheese right on it. It's going to be really, really good. So this is all there is to this. I'll come back and show you how I do the sandwiches on the big pan. That way I cook all of them at the same time. And you can see that, and then we'll call it a show. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes. All right, Funguy foodies, we're back to the good part here. Burgers are all cooked now. I've got my pan on the grill. All you really need to do at this point, it's really, really simple, is pretend like you're making grilled cheese sandwiches. So grab your bread pieces. I'm going to actually pretty much use all the ones that are in here right now. So what we do, put butter on the bottom of them. We're going to make 3 sandwiches at one time. Unfortunately, even with the kitchen cooking, the butter's kind of hard, so it's not going to be as smooth as spreading as I usually have. I'm actually kind of surprised it's this hard. We've been cooking in here for a good 20 minutes. It's not like my house isn't warm. It's 65 degrees. Okay, normally I would put slices of cheese on here. I pulled out my cheddar cheese slices, and unfortunately they were too old and they had started to become a science experiment. And so what I do have though is shredded cheddar, which will work just as good. Put it on the bottom of the bread. The problem is the shredded cheddar, of course, pours over to the pan, so we're going to burn a little bit of the cheese, but it's really not the end of the world. It's a non-stick pan. It will come off. Okay. Now, of course, if you have you can use American cheese too. I actually like American cheese, but like my brother can't stand it, which is really kind of funny because obviously we grew up in the same household. But cheddar cheese is definitely one of the better ones for this. Then you just stick one burger on each piece. Just like that. Then you sprinkle a little bit more cheese on top. Of course, if it was sliced, you just put another slice on top. Then finish it off with bread again. This time with the butter up. That way when you flip it, this will work. For those of you who saw one of my earlier shows with the sourdough bread, you could obviously use sourdough bread on this also. But today I have the Italian bread, which obviously is fine. Okay. Now, we're going to turn both burners on medium high right off the bat. Here we go. Turn off the timer for my macaroni and cheese. I like to put it right back on the same hot burner, even though its burner's off. The grates are still hot and it helps melt the butter faster. I've already got the milk ready to go in there. I'm sure all of you know how to make macaroni and cheese. One of these days I'm actually I want to make a white cheddar from scratch. The first time I tried it did not come out well. I have to refine the recipe. It's to the point where I can do it confidently. I know you guys don't mind seeing boo-boos, but I also would like to be able to eat whatever I cook. And it did not come out well. It was pretty sad. Okay, now we'll add the milk to the macaroni and cheese. Drop the drained noodles in here. I can hear the bread sizzling, or technically it's the butter that's sizzling. Now, the problem is these burgers are big and they're fat. As a result, they're going to be very challenging to turn. So you'll see this also as I do this. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to end up doing this hat the way this is. This looks pretty good. I don't think I've blocked the camera even once tonight. We'll find out when I go to turn the rearmost sandwich, because it's obviously when I'm going towards the back that I have the most amount of trouble. Okay. This is a very simple but very, very tasty dinner. Who doesn't like macaroni and cheese? Okay. Let's turn these. Oh, look at that, right on schedule. All right, this is all there is to it. These sandwiches will be done in literally 1 minute. I call them pan-fried milk burgers. They're pan-fried twice. They're pan-fried as a burger, they're pan-fried as the sandwich. They're really, really tasty. Gotta try them. You can add bacon to this. You can add anything you want to it. This is a nice, simple, basic recipe. So I hope you all enjoyed the show. I hope you like the, turn this off now. I hope you like the new format where I'm putting the actual recipes up on our page and on the YouTube show. I believe it's working pretty good. If you have any comments, let me know. And thank you for coming to my kitchen. And this is Funguy the Entertainer, cooking for you.